All right. Good morning, everyone. Unfortunately for this week too, I have an obligation which will uh, force me from not for which will prevent me from being able to meet with you in real time. However, rather than giving you reading materials for you to read on, which is not fun at all because you all want to see my pretty face, I have decided to record this video for you. Um, I will be in Microsoft Teams during class hours just to play you this video. But unfortunately, I will not be able to do it live, which is always more fun. Um, but in any case, if you have any questions about today's lecture, feel free to leave your questions in Microsoft Teams, okay? And I will come back and answer your question when I have, when I can, right? As fast as I can. For section 2 student, um, we didn't have a class last week because of the national holiday, right? Unfortunately, I have recorded the lecture of that session, and I will be giving you the link to that video later on. But in general, if you are a section 2 student, you will get a pre-recorded video. You will get a pre-recorded video from section 1 because it's basically the same material anyway, and it's online learning. There's no point not giving both sections the same learning experience, like by using pre-recorded video, okay? So for today, before we do anything at all, I want to make sure that at this point, you should have access to 1, Microsoft Teams, 2, LMS. If you having problem accessing any of these 2 sources, then you should get in touch with me immediately because your first assignment will be assigned this Friday, and you will need access to both Microsoft Teams to see the lecture and the reading material, and also LMS in order to submit your assignment, right? In order to work on your assignment. Okay, so if you still don't have access to LMS, then I would recommend that you get in touch with me as soon as possible. And the third option is the Line Open Chat, which the QR is shown right here. In case you prefer using Line to get in touch with me, that is fine. You can either use Line or Microsoft Teams. Okay, I am on both channels. Okay, so honest confession, I actually have recorded a version of this video, but as it turned out, I forgot to turn on my microphone. So I basically was talking to myself about an hour and a half without any audio that I can show you. So this one should work. So if I seem a little low energy, please understand that I have been talking to myself for an hour and a half on stuff that I shouldn't be talking to myself about. Anyway, with that being said, this is week 2 of thinking in number. Okay, and as I have discussed before, in this class, I want to get you to explore the concept of mathematics as a language of exploration and thinking, right? Mathematics as a language of exploration and thinking. So let's do that. Let's do that. Okay. Let me share the screen to this wonderful PowerPoint. Again, if you're watching this on Microsoft Teams during class session, I will be there in the section, but I will not be able to give you a live video, right? I will be there to answer any question in chat if you have. All right, so mathematics as a language of exploration and thinking. So again, my name is Tanwa Pontip, so that's my email right there. If you have any questions, you can also email me as well. Right? So So a general overview of the class is that we're going to start the class with a basic algebra review. For example, y equal to 4x squared plus 3x plus 2. And if you remember anything at all, you know that that's the kind of polynomial equation of degree 2, right? Because it's x squared. So an equation is used to express relationships between different variables, right? In this case, between y and x. And once you have done that, once you have mastered that one equation, we will expand your exploration to include a system of equations. So system of equations express relationships between variables in more than one way. Right? If you have one equation, that is one relationship. If you want to express multiple kinds of relationships, now you need a system of equations. Okay? Once we are done with system of equations, we go into inequalities. So inequality uh, express a relationship between variables on a range. Right? An equation expresses a relationship on a point. Right? You have very well defined, very specific relationship. And inequality express a relationship on a range, right? You have a range of possible relationship, and you just express it out in an inequality. For example, the one you're seeing on the screen is, if you are a physics nerd like me, you know it's an uncertainty in principle, right? The uncertainty in the position multiplied by the uncertainty in momentum is greater than or equal to h bar over 2. Once we are done with inequalities, we're going to go into calculus review, right? So you have differentiation, and then you have integration. And then lastly, we will talk about the applications of the above concepts. Okay? And at this point, at this point, usually the last time I taught this class, it was offline, right? So the last time I taught this class, it was offline. Usually at this point, students would be making two kinds of faces. It would either be like that, like so confused, like what the hell is going on, or like, oh my god, the face of like, oh my god, is that what I actually have to do for this class? Because the amount of mathematics that I just mentioned, it's just so much, right? It's just so much. So fortunately, fortunately, it's your lucky day, right? Fortunately, it's your lucky day because this is totally false. we will not be doing this for this class, right? Like I told you, for this class, all you ever need for mathematics is probably gonna be plus, minus, multiply, division, take some square root and some nth root, which is like, cube root or whatever, and then maybe some system of equations. But it will, like, if you try, it will not be that hard. Well, I can't say it will not be that hard, but we are not trying to teach you mathematics here. We are just trying to two things that I want to get out of this class, which is my ultimate goal. Like I said, number one, this class I have designed it to hopefully make you hate mathematics less at the end of the class, right? Make you hate mathematics less. And that's my ultimate goal. With that being said, though, since the mathematics involved in the class is not that complex compared to what you might have seen in high school, right? This is basically high school level of mathematics that we will be using. So I would ask you to do me a favor and suspend your hate for mathematics until the end of the semester, right? Suspend your hate for mathematics until the end of the semester. And then at the end of the semester, you can come back and tell me whether you hate mathematics still, or you hate mathematics even more, or you hate mathematics less, or you love mathematics now. Right? I would love to hear your opinion um, uh, through a survey at the end of the class, right? But from now, from this beginning of the semester until the end of the semester, I will try my best to show you what is possible in your life if you know more mathematics, right? If you start thinking about things in numbers, in mathematics, what could be possible? How could that make your life better? So that's my ultimate goal for this class, right? So two goals. Again, I want you to hate mathematics. I hope I can convince you to hate mathematics less. That's goal number one. Goal number two, I would love for you to um, uh, suspend your hate for mathematics until the end of the class, right? Approach this class with an open mind, right? This is not a difficult class, and it's from last year. It's actually quite easy to get A's and B's. So, yeah, if you approach this class with like, oh my God, mathematics sucks, I never want to learn anything from like Tanwa again, then you will not do well in this class. I'm sorry, right? You just keep an open mind. I have designed this class not to be mathematics heavy, but to be thought stimulating when it comes to mathematics. So, right? So it takes year. Wait, this side it takes year to become an overnight success, right? So just suspend your hateful for one semester, and then you might become successful, right? Okay. Anyway, so like I said, we will not talk about hard mathematics, but what we are exploring is mathematics as a language of exploration and thinking. All right. So in order to explore that concept of mathematics as as a language of exploration and thinking, we have to talk about, well, why do we care whether mathematics is a language or not? So we have to talk about language for a little bit, right? So for this lecture, we're gonna forget about mathematics for a while and talk about language. So the last time I taught this class, like I said, is it was in an offline setting, and in an offline setting, you have both kind of students. You have students who are Thai speaking and students who are English speaking, right? So in a class, I would challenge you, or even online right now, I would challenge you to do two things. If you are Thai speaking students, or if you can't speak Thai, I guess, try to translate the words, the Thai words on the left, so that's non, nói chai or grain chai, into English using a few words, right? So do not use a full sentence to express what it means, but to use a few words or even one word if you can to express that concept. So for example, if I say ว่ายน้ำ, that is just to swim in English, right? You can translate one word in Thai to one word in English. To eat in Thai would be กิน, right? So that's like one word in English to one word in Thai. Now my challenge to you, Thai speaking student, is to translate the word งอน น้อยใจ เกรงใจ, the words on the left, into English using very few words. Right? I give you maybe half a minute to think about it while I drink this delicious water, because teaching from home is amazing. All right. Unless you are a language freaking master, that was almost an impossible task, right? Why? Because these concepts that I'm showing you actually don't exist in English culture, in English speaking culture. Right? The word ngon, for example, the word ngon is translated as a sulky feeling towards someone because of their actions. It is not as strong as upset. Okay, so if you are upset with someone, you kind of want to punch them in the face. I am not encouraging violence, but that's the sort of emotion that you have, right? It's a very strong antagonistic emotion of being against something so much that you are so upset and you like, "Urgh," you want to do something about it, right? But ngon is a subtle kind of emotion. It's this sulky feeling towards someone because of their action, right? So Someone might do something that you think should not have been done to you. So you're kind of like sulky because you're sad, but at the same time, it's not that bad of a feeling that you are upset. Okay. So if you are dating and your boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever kind of friend you have, forgets your birthday, for example, right? So that's just like, oh, you just kind of like, oh my God, she forgot my birthday, right? That's the kind of ngon. Like you're not upset, but you're just not happy either. Noi Dai is the hurt feeling you feel from not getting the attention from the people you care for, and this only apply to people whom you have close relationships with, right? For example, if you like want to go out with your uh, boyfriend and your boyfriend's like, oh, I'm busy because I have to go play computer games with his friends, then you just kind of have this feeling of like nausea of you being ignored, you being neglected, right? So this is a concept that is hard to translate it to English because in English you are mad at your boyfriend, or you're upset with your boyfriend, or you're just happy with him or her, right? So it's a nuance in relationship description existing in the Thai culture, I guess. And then the last one is Green Jai, being afraid to disturb other people, even if they are willing to do it, right? And this is a concept that is prevalent in Asian cultures, not necessarily English cultures, which is why it's so hard to translate the word green jai into a few words in English. Okay? So let me give you an example of green jai. When you start working, and if you are an international student and you look, you might be working in Thailand after you have graduated, then this might be one scenario that happened. You might see a colleague that has a lot of work to do, probably too much work to do, and it would be helpful for him to get help from his colleagues in the office, right? He could be like, hey, I can't do this fast enough. Can you help me? But he will not do it. In Thai culture, he would not do it, even though he knows that if he asked his friends to help him with the work, his friends would be more than happy to do that, like willingly doing it. But he will not ask because he's afraid of disturbing you, even though you are willing and happy to help him, right? It's just kind of funny because this is the kind of expression and concept that don't exist in English speaking culture. It's only in Asian cultures and especially Thai culture that you have this kind of feeling. For English, you have defenestration and sleet and apocryphal. And again, my challenge to you is to try to translate the English words into your native language using only a few words. Right? If you are a Thai student, I encourage you to try to translate these three words into Thai, for example, or into Chinese if you are a Chinese student, for example. If you don't know what the English words mean, feel free to look it up in an English dictionary. Right? I'll give you about half a minute to try to translate this into your native tongues. So defenestration, sleet, apocryphal. All right. So defenestration is a funny word. It means throwing something out of a window. It's not throwing something out, not just throwing something away. It's not windows. It's the act of throwing something out of a window, right? Just kind of throw it. This word comes from French into English, and it actually has historical significance in France. So it's a fun word to look it up. But if you were trying to translate it, though, you might notice that it's almost impossible to do it, right? Because you lack the context, right? You don't have this concept in your language to translate one word into another word in your language. You have to translate it with a sentence. Right? The word sleet, for example, is a mixed ice pellet with snow and rain. Right? So when it rains, on the one hand, when it rains, you have water falling down from the sky. If it's snowing, you have ice falling from the sky, right? So water falling from the sky, that is rain. Ice falling from the sky, that is snow, right? Sleet is a mix of the two. It's the shittiest kind of weather pattern. You have mixed snow and water, right? So it's this like cold, uh, m- muddy shit weather pattern that you get if you live in a country that has that kind of weather pattern, right? Notice that you cannot translate this word into Thai because we don't deal with snow that often, right? We don't deal with snow or uh, freezing rain that often. So we don't have the word sleet. You don't have this mixture of ice pellet with snow and rain, right? Or last word, which is very fun word to know, is apocryphal. So an apocryphal story is a story that probably is not true, but it gets repeated so many times that it sounds true and a lot of people believe it. Okay? So an example is if you are from an Asian culture, a common belief is that if you get soaked by the rain, if you get wet in the rain, for example, if you happen to get caught out in the rain without an umbrella and you're now wet, that will make you sick. So you will probably hear Asian parents like tell their children, "Oh, you get wet by the rain, go take a shower, you're gonna get sick." That is not true. That is not scientifically true. That is the kind of belief that only happens in Asian culture. I don't know why Asian culture, but it happens, right? If you talk to American children, they're like, "Oh my God, it's raining. Let's go play in the rain." Because getting wet in the rain will not make you sick. Because if getting wet make you sick, Olympian swimmers would be the sickest group of people because they never get out of the pool. They're always like wet all day, right? So getting wet will not make you sick. But why do a lot of people in Thailand believe this? Because it has been told by many parents, by many generations of parents, that it sounds true, but it is not true, right? That's an example of apocryphal story. So in English, the word apocryphal exists to talk about this, but in Thai it doesn't. In Thai it doesn't. So what's the point of all this? Well, let me give you the next slide before I tell you why we're talking about language, right? So what do you call this? So in English, you probably would call it snow, right? Just simple one word, snow, right? Which is fine, which is fine. But the Eskimos, the Eskimos are the people who live in the North Pole, right? All the time. So all their lives, all they will ever see is probably snow, right? But they don't have just one word for snow. They have 50 words for snow. They have 50 freaking words for snow. Okay? So 50 words for snow is a lot of words. And why do they need so many words for snow? Because they deal with snow all the time, right? They need a word for uh, snow that just melted. They need a word for snow that fell in the morning. They need a word for snow that had been there for a long time, right? Because to them, it's a difference between life and death, right? When they communicate, for example, traveling route between Eskimos, they need to be able to tell the people whether the snow in that path is safe to travel or not. Right? Is it slippery? Is it old snow that has been there for a while, so therefore it might be ice? Or if it's just like snow that fell yesterday. Like there's a big difference between those cases. So to them, being able to express different kind of snows uh, made them develop a new set of words that is more expressive when it comes to talking about snow. Okay? So what did we learn from this discussion? What did we learn from this discussion is this: language can shape the way you think. discuss, talk, and analyze things. And in fact, it goes the other way around as well. The way you need to think, discuss, talk, analyze things, and live um, help shape the kind of language that you want to use, right? So, for example, if you want to deal with a lot of snow stuff, then you might want to start inventing words for snow, right? And if you have to deal with a lot of complicated and fragile emotion, then you might get something that Asian languages have, right? You have different way of expressing different kind of emotions, which do not actually exist in English, right? Because in English speaking cultures, they are typically more straightforward in how they feel, right? So they don't have the word ngon, for example. That's the like I'm angry at you, but I'm not quite upset. They are either angry at you or they're not. Simple as that, right? They're happy with you or they're angry at you. But in Thai, you have like I'm happy with you. I'm kind of happy, but not fully happy. I am a little angry at you, but not to the level of being upset. That's the word ngon. And then you have like I'm super upset at you, right? So if you have to deal with a lot of emotions, then you start develop new language to deal with it. So the bottom line is this: knowing fewer language mean that you are at a disadvantage compared to your peers. If you are in hospitality and tourism, right? Most of you are anyway. Imagine if you have to work, say, in a hotel, you and your friend, right? You and your friend are both at the same level when it comes to English. You are both at the same level when it comes to working, right? But your friend happened to be speaking Chinese. Now tell me, if your boss wants to promote someone into a manager position, right? Since you both are the same, except your friends speak Chinese, which one would your boss pick? I would say it's probably the one that can speak Chinese because it allows that person to grow more in the future. Right? It allows that person to approach Chinese tourists differently compared to approach other kind of tourists because that person can speak Chinese. It allows that person to study Chinese culture at a deeper level compared to people who don't know Chinese, right? So the room for growth is a lot more when you know more language. Or imagine this. Imagine if you are for international students. Imagine if you want to work in Thailand after you have graduated, but you don't know the concept of green jai. Like you never green jai anyone. You never afraid of disturbing anyone. You just kind of ask anyone to do things for you all the time, right? So green jai again is this one, right? You never green die. You're just like, hey, I want this. Can you get this done for me? Right? Even though people are happy to do it for you, they will feel that you are overly aggressive and not green die at all. Right? So that's no good either because you will make some people mad at you. Right? Now you can't work in Thai culture anymore. Or imagine being a weather forecaster, but you don't know the difference between sleet and snow, right? So now you have to spend your entire freaking broadcast talking about a mix of ice pellet and water, right? It's never fun. So, um, so basically, what I'm trying to say, like the point of this whole exercise about language, is that uh, knowing more languages allow you to express yourself better. Right? Knowing more languages allow you to express yourself better. And in fact, the more languages you know, the better you will be able to think about certain concepts, right? Which is why I wanted you to show you this picture. Hold on, give me a second while I switch the screen. This one. Okay. So this is from a study called bilingualism. Bilingualism trains specific brain circuits involved in flexible rule selection and application. Right. Bilingualism trains specific brain circuits involved in flexible rule selection and application. Right. So in the study, the researchers ask participants to do things, basically, to do new things, to do fun things, and they compare the brain activity of monolinguals. These are the people that speak only one language, to bilinguals. These are the people who speak both languages, right? So first, I want to direct your attention to this overlap kind. Oh wait, let me show you the picture. I guess I forgot to show you the picture. So monolinguals and bilinguals, and let me show you. Let me direct your attention first to the overlap region. Right, the overlap region are the purple region. So it's like right here and right there. Um, okay, actually, I need to draw on the photo. So give me a second here. All right, let me switch the screen. Give me a second. No, I can't. Fantastic. Hold on. All right, let's try again. Oh, okay. So first, let me direct your attention to the purple region, right? So the purple region is, uh, for example, this one right here, right? So the purple regions are the regions of the brain that get activated regardless of whether you speak one language or two languages. In this study, bilinguals are people who speak both English and Spanish. Uh, so the purple area of the brain, you can see that a lot of regions are purple, right? Which mean a lot of the times, both kind of people, bilingual or monolingual, activate the same regions of the brain, right? Which is okay, cool. Um, and then next, I want you to compare the difference between I want you to compare the difference between the monolinguals and bilinguals, right? And every time I show this photo, this picture, some of the students will be like, "Oh my God, look at this! Like, like this huge region of blue. That means that the monolinguals are using brains in that area. Look at this huge blue area over here, right? And in fact, look at like huge blue area over here, right? So it seems like monolingual people are using more of their brains to think, right? While the bilingual people are using less of their brain to think. So therefore, the more brain, it's like brain is muscle, right? The more you use a muscle, the better it grows, right? And I was like, well, yes, but you can't just think of it like that as well. You have to take into account a few more things. And if you have study brains, and you should have in your high school, you know that it's not the area. It's not like how big the area of the brain that matters. It's which region of the brain that matters, right? So before I move on further with this concept, let me remind you how brain works, right? So brains are developed from less complex region to more complex region, right? So the thing that makes humans different compared to other animals is that our frontal area, right, pre-cortex area, I think is what it's called. Let me look it up so that I don't give you wrong information. Prefrontal cortex, right? So the prefrontal cortex area of the brain, so the PFC, so this like front of the brain area over here. Um, so the more complex thoughts happen in this area of the brain, right? So and the more subconscious thought happen in the base area of the brain, so down here, right? So for example, when brains have to do like breathing or like controlling your heart or like hearing, seeing or whatever, it's like down here or back here, right? So in general, in general, the further up the area, the more complicated the thought is. And the more forward the area of the brain, the more complex the thought is, right? So for really complex and amazing thought that we have as humans, the thought will be like up and to the front. Okay. So let's look at this photo again, right? If you look at this photo, the area of the brains that get activated by the monolinguals, right? This huge area of the brain are in the back of the head, right? It's like right here in the back of the head, right? Which means that for monolinguals, when you hear new instructions and you have to think about it, they tend to fall back to instinct. They tend to fall back to their gut feeling, right? They don't analyze it. And now look at the area of the brains that get activated by the bilingual, right? The red area, right? You have this thing in the front of the area, right? So that's the front of the brain. And then you have this thing that is like way up high in the brain. You have some in the back of the brain as well. Uh, so you see that in general, bilingual people tend to involve complex region of the brains when it comes to doing things, right? So my point of talking about language so obsessively right now is that I'm trying to convince you that knowing more languages allow you to express yourself better, allow you to understand culture better, allow you to think better, allow you to analyze things better, right? And if these like benefits don't translate into your career success, I don't know what will. Right? You think better, you talk better, you express yourself better. That will get you to the kind of success in your career that you want. Right? You need a better language in order to think. All right. With all of that being said, knowing language is amazing, but we still haven't talked about mathematics at all. Right? So let's talk about mathematics. So hopefully I have convinced you by now that you should know more language, right? You should know more languages than just one. So then let's talk about mathematics. Well, is mathematics a language, right? Because if we agree that knowing more languages is better, is mathematics a language? If it is, what is it a language of? It's just a bunch of numbers. And if it's not, why it is not? Right? If it's not, then why is it not? Hold on, give me a second. All right, so is mathematics a language? So imagine this scenario. Like imagine this scenario. I am an alien, right? I am an alien that just come to Earth, and I am a very special kind of alien, right? I am a very special kind of alien who knows no mathematics, no numbers at all. And I happen to find these two pieces of paper, right? One is obviously a 20 baht bill, and the other one is like 1,000 baht bill, right? I am the kind of alien that is very afraid of having a bad deal, right? I want to, like, as a custom to my alien kind of people, I have to give one of the paper to you, provided that you can give me a good enough reason to do so. I am also colorblinded, so you can't go with like, give me the green ones. I don't know what green is because I'm colorblinded. My world is in black and white. So you can't say I want the red one or the green one either, right? So uh, with that challenge, I challenge you to come up with a way to tell this alien who know nothing about mathematics or numbers, uh, which one you want between these two pieces of paper. Okay. Let me give you a few quick minutes to think about that. Oh wait, I haven't shown you the PowerPoint. God damn it. Anyway, so is mathematics a language, right? And I am an alien who knows no mathematics or numbers at all. And I happen to found these two pieces of paper. I have to give you one, but I am also afraid of having a bad deal. I suspect that one piece of paper is better than the other one. I just don't know which one. And you have to convince me to give you the better one for you. Right? You have to convince me to give you the better one for you. All right, I'll give you maybe a minute to think about that. Okay, I'm back. Well, what do you get? What do you come up with? So usually students will try to do this. Give me the one that has 1,000 number on it because I want that one. And I would be like, well, you can't do that. I don't know what 1,000 is because I'm an alien that knows no mathematics or numbers. I don't know the difference between 1,000 and 20. So we can't do it that way. And then students will come with, hey, give me the one with a lot of letters on it, right? Because as you can see, the 1,000 baht bill has like 4 letters on it, and this one only has 2 letters. Right? Or you can do it over here as well. And then I will be like, what do you mean more letters? And then you would be like, oh, this one has 4 letters. This one has only 2 letters. And I would be like, well, I don't understand what 2 and 4 means because I don't know numbers. Right? And then some students will be like, "Oh, give me the piece of paper that is bigger." And I was like, "How do you define bigger?" And then they would be like, "Oh, it has like larger area." And I was like, "Well, how do you know which area is larger?" And then they would be like, "Measure it." And I was like, "Well, how are you gonna measure the area of something if you don't know numbers? Like, how can you tell it's like 10 centimeter by 5 centimeter when I don't know what 10 and 5 are?" Right? And then we keep going around in this circle. And then I promise it's more fun offline when I do this because you get an interaction between me pretending to be an alien and the students struggling hard trying to get money from me. Right? Um, so the point of this exercise is this. There are conversations in which it is not possible for you to do without using mathematics, right? For example, you can't buy things without mathematics. You can't pay for things. You can't buy things. You can't coordinate activities because you can't say, let's meet at 1 p.m. Because everyone would be like, what is one? We all don't know number. And then you have to go through the whole thing of like, oh, let's meet when the sun is at the highest point in the day. And it's just kind of stupid, right? So some conversations can only be done if and only if you know mathematics. And there is one kind of conversation that you will need to have regardless of what career you will have in life, right? There is one kind of conversation that you need to have regardless of what career you will be doing in life. And that kind of conversation is a value conversation or a conversation about value of things, right? In any careers that you will be doing, you will have to compare between options that have different values. So, for example, should I invest in company A compared to company B, right? And now you have to talk about the value of each of the companies and try to see which one has more value, right? Or uh, you might have to buy things from 2 different companies. Like, for example, you might have to buy a uh, a box of pens from company A and B. Now you need to figure out which one give you a better value, right? And you probably do this all the time as well when you go online shopping or whatever. Right? You try to compare the price of 2 things. So mathematics, in a sense that I want to convey in this class, um, this might not always be true, but most of the time, mathematics comes down to being a language of value, right? Mathematics is a language of value, and there's no substitution for it. Right? Mathematics have so many uses, but the biggest use case for mathematics is that it allows you to express value of things, right? It allows you to uh, evaluate how expensive something is, right? It's allow you to convey the concept of value using numbers, right? And that's what we will be focusing on for the rest of the semester. The value of something can only be expressed in mathematics. If you don't know mathematics, then you probably cannot express a value of something. If you cannot determine a value of something, then you will not have a successful career. It's as simple as that. Because all the careers that you will be doing will have to deal with a value of something. Okay? So then you're like, okay, cool. A value of something, it's just number, right? Like it's just like 20, 1,500. So why do we need complicated mathematics, right? Why do we need calculus? Why do we need algebra? Why do we need this? Why do we need that? Why make it so hard for us students? Don't you know we have like, I don't know, TikTok videos to watch? Don't you know that we have YouTube videos we are addicted to? We have Netflix series that we have to forget. I mean that we have to watch. Why are we studying hard mathematics, right? Why do we learn calculus? Why do we learn algebra? Right? So as of now, hopefully I have convinced you somewhat that mathematics is a language of value, right? If I have convinced you somewhat, well, then if mathematics is a language, the difficult mathematics is like studying good novels, right? It's the same reason that even though you may be able to speak English, but in order to get better at English, in order to express yourself better, to think better, you have to start reading more difficult books. You have to go into like better novels. You have to go into better nonfiction books. You have to read philosophy. You have to read Shakespeare and all that stuff, right? So knowing hard mathematics is like knowing advanced English. It allowed you to gain knowledge better at expressing yourself, better at thinking, right? So the more mathematics you know, the better you are at expressing value in life. And the better you are at expressing value in life, the better you will be in your career, right? The more advanced, the more forward you will be in your career. So that, in my opinion, is why thinking in number is important, right? I was gonna say fun, but it might not be fun for some of you. So that's why I think it's important, and sometimes important things are not fun. Kind of like, working out and losing weight and going on diet. Like everyone knows that having a strong and healthy body is important, and part of having a strong and healthy body is to have like a moderate diet with like a regular exercise, but not everyone does it, right? Not everyone does it because it's hard and difficult to do. Sometimes hard and difficult things are not fun in the moment that you have to do it. But after a while, you become appreciative of it and it moves you forward in life. Mathematics is the same thing. Okay. So with that being said, uh, that comes to the conclusion of what I'm trying to convey. Like mathematics is a language of exploration and thinking. And at this point, some of you might go like, "Oh my God!" Like I'm kind of convinced that mathematics might be important for my career in the future, but I still don't like it. I still don't like it. So let me give you a reason why you probably did not like mathematics in the past, right? So mathematics in the past in your high school, for example, is usually going like this, like, or here's an equation of y equal to 4x squared plus 3x plus 2 divided by x cubed uh, multiplied by sine x. Please find x or some shit like that, right? So you feel that mathematics is so disconnected from the real world. And that's fair because the way you have been taught is probably not right. I mean not right, but as in like it doesn't make you see the connections between mathematics and the real world. And that's sad because, like I said, mathematics is a language of value. And being able to talk about value at a sophisticated level is so important for all areas of your life. Okay. Um, so that's one of the reasons that I have seen in the past. I also have seen bad experience with mathematics teachers in the past. Well, which could include me. I might be another mathematics professor or teachers that made you hate mathematics even more. But I want to say this: like, you can hate the teachers, but do not hate the subject. Right? If anything at all, I hope I have convinced you that knowing mathematics in order to express and think better is so important for your career. Even if you hate my style of teaching, even if you hate the amount of homework that I'm about to give you, uh, don't hate mathematics. It's a separate issue, right? Do not hate the people who give you the message, right? Evaluate the message on its own, right? And the third one is actually one of the most common explanation of why people hate mathematics as well. Learning a new language is hard. Learning a new language is just hard, right? Think back to, if you're not a native English speaker, think back to when you have to learn English so that you can come up to the level that you can understand what I'm saying, right? It is difficult to learn a new language. It's just hard in general, and it's even harder for mathematics because not many people speak it well, right? For English, you can just pick up a random person, not pick up a random person, but like most people speak English, right? So you have a lot of chances to practice your English with different group of people. But for mathematics, it's hard to find someone who can speak well, who can speak eloquently, and who can provide you with the sort of training that you need in order to advance your mathematic language. Right. So that's why you probably have been hating mathematics because it's just like difficult, right, to find someone to train with. Um, so in this PowerPoint, which I will share with you, there are a few more videos that I would love for you to go watch, right? So there's this one by Eddie Wu. You can look him up on YouTube. It's called "Mathematics is the Scent You Never Knew You Had," right? I would encourage you to watch this between the end of this lecture and next lecture, because we will discuss about it during the next lecture. So that's one. Or you can watch it today, right after this lecture. Right? Um, and then the next example of mathematics as an expressive language of things is Richard Feynman, who said like the science of mathematics really is add to the excitement of, hold on, give me a second. That mathematics is a knowledge that only add to the excitement of what you know and what you do, right? And then you have James Simons, who used mathematics. He said no more advanced than undergrad level to generate 3 million. So that's like uh, 3 trillion Thai baht for his investing company because all he used is mathematics. And then you have this movie. Right? If you have Netflix, I think it's on Netflix right now. It's called Moneyball. It's a story of a basketball coach in the major leagues of the US who has no money. Like his team has less money compared to other teams, but he used mathematics and statistics to pick better players, to position players better in his team so that he can achieve championship with less money, right? So that's the power of mathematics. If you apply mathematics correctly, and I really encourage you to watch this movie, if you apply mathematics correctly, the way you think, the way you analyze, is gonna be totally changed, right? His method is now copied by everyone, not just in basketball, but also in like American football and soccer as well, right? So he has definitely revolutionized the sports industry using mathematics, right? So with all of that being said, I think that's the end of today's lecture. Again, I'm sorry for not being able to be with you live, but hopefully this recorded version will give you somewhat of an okay substitution for me being a live lecture on a video, right? Anyway, so thank you. If you have any question, feel free to ask me on MST or LMS, and I will come back to answer that when I have time. Other than that, I will see you again next week. So again, classes will start at 9 a.m., right? 8:30 to 9 will be office hour in which anyone can come and ask me any kind of question. And then at 9 a.m. we will start the lecture. All right, thank you.